Police searched one man's house, and what they found was so disturbing, it led to hundreds of criminal charges. In this man's basement were the remains of over 100 different people. That's not even the worst part. Some of these people's remains were stolen from their graves and sold. Yes, sold. Most people assume that this is illegal everywhere. It's not. Yep, in most places, you are completely allowed to buy and trade bones and skulls. Like, what? Which means that there's a real market for this. Real buyers, real money. Most of these people believe that they're buying something historical, but police report that these remains did in fact come from graves that were stolen. This means that that oddity market is a cover-up for crime. This is Jonathan Gerlach, something like that. Police say that he spent months breaking into burial vaults and mausoleums, stealing what was inside, and then quietly sneaking off. No alarms, no security, nothing stopping him from doing these heinous things. Until one night, police caught him near a gravesite with tools and a bag that would just break this case wide open. At this point, I think everyone's asking the same question. What the fuck did this guy go through to turn him to this point? Like, this dude is literally just digging around, pulling granny's femurs out and selling them. Like, what did this dude go through? No, seriously, who does something like this? All the reports that I've seen from neighbors and people that knew him say that he was a quiet dude, really unassuming, polite, someone that you might wave to when you're walking your dog in the morning. Jonathan Gerlach was not some movie villain. He seemed like a super regular dude from the outside, clearly not on the inside. There was no obvious red flags, except maybe if they smelled it. There was no warnings about this, and that's what makes this case even more terrifying. This means that this wasn't some kind of chaotic act of a crazed man. This was methodical. Jonathan Gerlach knew exactly what he was doing and continued to do so. That's terrifying. What they found next was one of the most disturbing crime scenes that investigators have seen in decades. When officers moved in on his home, they were not expecting to find what they found. They were expecting a simple vandalism case, maybe some kids breaking into a mausoleum for fun. Not even close. What they found instead was nothing that resembled a normal home. All over this house were shelves, containers, boxes filled with human remains, bones, pieces of real people. Not from a museum, not from medical school, from real people's graves. There was also remains found of children as well. By the time police finished counting everything, they found the remains of over 100 different people. That means that this wasn't one bad decision. This was an entire system. Investigators didn't want to just know what he had. They wanted to know what he was doing with it. And that's where things got even worse. After searching his phones and computer records, they found the most disturbing information that they could have possibly found. Jonathan Gerlach wasn't just keeping these remains for himself, he was actually selling them online. This is part that most people don't even know exists. There's an entire section of the internet where people buy, trade, and sell bones, skulls, and other preserved human remains. They call themselves collectors, historians. Some say they just like oddities, but there's an entire section of the internet where people are doing this on the daily basis. Investigators say that Jonathan Gerlach was a part of this world, deeply embedded. There's groups all over different social media platforms where people are openly selling and trading these oddities. This isn't some crazy thing off the dark web. This is all right in the open on platforms that every one of us uses on the daily basis. That's what makes this even more terrifying. People on these groups and pages thought that they were buying old medical examples, things of that nature. They had no idea about the true darkness of what they were receiving. These people believed that they were getting legally sourced items and oddities, but according to police, they were actually getting remains that were stolen from actual grave sites. This means that someone, somewhere, bought actual pieces of someone's loved one. That's not just theft. That's a second loss for those families. Investigators now believe that he broke into dozens of different grave sites, mausoleums, tombs, underground burials, one after another, over and over again, little by little, accumulating more and more. No alarms, no guards, nothing protecting these precious grave sites. This continued over and over again until he had accumulated over 100 different people's remains. And now, families are being contacted, graves are being reopened, and families are discovering that their loved ones' final resting places weren't final. And that's when the entire city figured out that this wasn't just one man's sick games. This was an entire system that made this possible. Because now, investigators are trying to do the impossible. They need to figure out who all of these remains belong to. This means opening old records, contacting families, and potentially even reopening graves that family members thought were sealed for decades. For these families, this isn't just a news story, this is their loved ones we're talking about. The reason that this went on for so long wasn't luck, it was neglect. Many old cemeteries don't have security, no cameras, no guards, nothing to stop people like this from doing these disgusting acts. Some don't even have full-time staff, which means that if someone like Jonathan Gerlach wants to go and break into people's tombs and steal their remains, they can do so at will and nobody's there to stop them. And if bones go missing, there's no accountability, there's no one checking on these tombs, these mausoleums, these underground burials. Things can just get taken and nobody will ever know about it. All it takes is one nefarious human with a crowbar and free reign to steal whatever they want because there's no one there to stop them. If hearing this makes you angry, good. It should make you angry. Jonathan Gerlach is now facing hundreds of criminal charges, including charges for abuse of a corpse, theft, breaking into burial sites, and desecrating graves. Each charge represents a real person and a real family who had their final resting place desecrated. Even with all those charges, this case exposed something much darker. It showed how easy it was. How an abandoned cemetery, a lack of security, and a strange online marketplace turned this into a pipeline from someone's grave to another person's living room. Jonathan Gerlach was not the first person to get caught doing this. There have been cases across the United States and Europe where people have been caught collecting remains from grave sites and selling them. Sometimes for hundreds, sometimes for thousands of dollars or euros. This is a hidden world, one that most people don't even know exists, which raises a terrifying question. If there's supply and there's demand and there's money, then what's stopping people from recreating this heinous act? How many people are doing this right now and just haven't been caught yet? Think about it. This raises a question that should make everyone uncomfortable. How many people have something in their house that they should never have owned? That's the part of the story that no one can answer yet. If you want more stories like this, the kind that don't feel like fiction, you know what to do, because the next one is already worse.